Yeah, we're back again on SaharaTV Countermeasures, and we're looking at the DSS, the penchant for disobedience of others. And with us in the studio is a public affairs commentator, Mr. Gbenga Soloki. Gbenga, it's a pleasure having you on SaharaTV.
Welcome, my brother. How are you doing?
We're good.
It's good to be here.
Great. Let's get your perspective on this. I mean, the DSS has, or the SSS, so to say, has continued to disregard the rule of law in this country by disobeying extant laws and, court orders given by competent judges. What does this portend for this country?
Well, basically, I think the DSS or SSS, as you call them, are treading a path that is diversionary, that is dangerous to our democracy, because the ground norm of the country is the constitution that has established it, and it has also vested so much power in the judiciary to adjudicate on matters that are not it. And be that as it may, issues are taken before court of competent jurisdiction. They are attended to. Bills are given out. Conditions of the bills are met. How many years you have not released them? It shows that we are going back to the era of the military that rules with impunity. We had a Babangida that ruled with impunity. We had an Abacha who ruled with disregard for the rule of law and due process. So if we have a civilian government in place today that still goes about doing that, then definitely our democracy is endangered already, because then definitely people will resort to self-help on issues like this. Instead of going to courts to seek judicial pronouncement, people will rather resort to might instead of the right to also appeal or to seek opinion of the court on matters that affect them. But basically, this total disregard also for the release of some of the detainees calls for serious action on the part of Mr. President, because we have a sitting Attorney General of the Federation who is supposed to be the chief law officer of the country, who could not even tell the presidency or the president the truth that when laws are made, when bills are given, they must be respected. No matter what. I heard him one time saying that on the Dazuki thing, that it's beyond his personal safety, because it's about national interest. That we can plead with that for that in the court of competent jurisdiction. If you want to come up with arguments, go to the court of law and argue your case instead of now using might, because you have power to do so. You have power to also, because even while some of us are growing up, our DSS then were not even seen. But it's so unfortunate today that you see them wounded, brandishing all sorts of dangerous weapons across the country. No, they are supposed to be secret service. But today, you will see them displaying arms everywhere. But thank God, we had a Marilyn Oga, who was the spokesperson of the DSSS a few years back, who became the spokesperson of the then government. So Nigerians outlived her. Who will outlive the shenanigans that is going on now? That I'm very sure of.
Talking about the Attorney General's comment that you made earlier, when he superimposed national interest or national security above the rule of law, so to say. I mean, shouldn't the president, I'm talking of President Muhammadu Buhari, and the Attorney General, I mean, let the courts or the Constitution decide what constitutes a threat to national security, instead of encouraging security agencies to disobey court judgments, or governments itself acting with impunity by disobeying extant laws? I mean, shouldn't that?
Well, I think I think basically with what we have seen so far, it's just a government that wants to do it the way it wants to do it, because there's no way the national interest, if truly weighed, can just override the Constitution, because the Constitution is the grand norm, and issues are raised. You had opportunity in court to raise the supposed national interest that is above fundamental rights of those being accused, so that you can use that to also oppose bail. But judges in their own wisdom chose to grant such persons bail because they have not been found wanting, but the matters have not commenced prosecution, and they are bailable offences that the court has also used its discretion by giving them bail. So if you are saying, if an Attorney General comes up with the issue of being security threat to the national interest, it's bad dash. It holds no water, because there were opportunities to also raise such matters at the point of arguing for their bill, and also we must also note that some of these government functionaries are trying to settle score with some of those who are in detention. That is very evident, because you cannot be holier than the Pope. Nigerians are not, I mean, Boko Haram is threatening us. You have not declared emergency in states ravaged by Boko Haram, for God's sake. Those who have said they want to go on revolution, just mere mentioning it, are being held in detention, even against a court order. I mean, for God's sake, we are becoming a banana republic, a laughing stock in the Committee of Nations. If you don't know, because that's what we have gone to. Because we have a chief law officer who sits idly in the confines of his office when injustices are being perpetrated by agents of government. Malami has refused to also call the attention of those concerned to it. I read Mr. Falana's encounter with them on the release of a thing. That yes, he happens to be the legal counsel. They said nobody to come for him. He came for him. They refused to resist him. They come up with so much plural lies.
Let me get your reaction, really. I mean, first, they presented the argument that no one claimed for Sowore, as if Sowore was lost but found. Secondly, the DSS claimed that Shorties failed to come to appear before it, even though the legal counsel, was there. And thirdly, they said Sowore preferred to be in their custody.
Because they are feeding him well.
Some have described this buffoonery of the DSS as an embarrassment. What was your reaction then?
Well, it's more than an embarrassment. It's a national tragedy. Because when you have sort of governments spewing out lies here and there, trying to justify the unjustifiable, it's so saddening. It's saddening that we progress to that level that DSS will come up with one lie today and tomorrow. I have a 10-year-old son. He goes to school by himself. For how many years he's been going? So why will he come up with the fact that Sowore may not be able to trace his way back home or what? He has a travel business all over in America. He has one here. So a man who runs such businesses, is he a toddler? A close to 15-year-old man? Then you said he wants to stay in a dungeon, in a cell, when you restrict his movements, you restrict his conversation with people, and you say he wants to stay there. So, you see, basically, it boils down to one thing. It boils down to the fact that our institutions are not working, and they are pandering to the whims and caprices of those in power. Like I mentioned with the young guy the other time, she was dancing to former President Jonathan's tune. She was more or less a PDP spokesperson. Today we have one Afunaya, Peter Afunaya there today. He's dancing to the tunes of those in Asoro. But Nigerians will outlive them. But unfortunately, they have made our country a laughingstock in the Committee of Nations. It's so sad. It's so bad that we could go back to this level in this century. For God's sake, we waged the war, including Sowore, we waged the war on the streets of Lagos against military governments in Lagos here, and we are not treated badly like this. Some were arrested, some were dealt with. Even why they were not why they were not, why they were doing all those things. We were insisting on having a democracy where our voice will be heard. But fortunately today, one of those who stood vehemently that we must have democracy is languishing in detention. That's what Sowore. It's so sad.
The big question is how do we get out of this quagmire? I mean, what do you advise Nigerians?
Number one, like we did under the military, we must get ourselves organized. Freedom don't come a la carte. Freedom don't come by just like that. We must get ourselves organized at the level of society and social movement. We must conscientize our people. We must tell them the truth. We must continue with political education to let Nigerians know what their rights are. And also we must continue to engage them at every forum that we meet them. Because it is not going to be easy task for us to get out of the grip of those in power today. Because when you look at political contests, I don't think we have the wherewithal to challenge them politically, except intellectually. That's when it's only when we continuously engage Nigerians on the need to reject their ill-gotten wealth at polls and to also embrace issue-based campaign and candidates. That's the only way we can get out. We cannot match them. These people have amassed so much wealth that me and you and Sowore cannot even match them. So the only thing is for us to continuously get ourselves organized, engage them. There will be deprivations, there will be pains, but at the end of it, there will be gain. If we are not engaged in military, despite the dangers ahead then, democracy we are practicing today, we won't have. But some people paid the supreme price at that point in time. But some of us are still alive today to testify to the role Sowore and co played. Some of us played it alongside ourselves as student leaders in the university. So today, if we are looking at a quasi or civil government that is treating us badly, and we don't get ourselves organized, definitely we'll be in for it for a long time. And you know, we look at our politicians now. The 2023 they are already scrambling for that.
That's another thing.
Yeah, I'm coming.
I mean, considering what happened in the just concluded polls in Bayelsa and Kogi State, I mean, what does that portend for the future of democracy in this country?
I want to say that it's so unfortunate that Nigeria will go back to the era of gun-wielding thugs, ballot stuffing, ballot snatching, and the rest, and bring bandage on the election day. And shamefully, or shamelessly, the Inspector General of Police came on here to say fake policemen outnumber his men, and no single one was arrested. If you admitted as the normal policeman that fake police, it shows that you admitted that there were fake policemen on that day. How many was arrested? You understand? What has happened? Is it not an indictment of that process? So he has also indicted the process that was not free and fair. But be that as it's may, there's only one thing I always tell people. I said, don't hold INEC responsible for some things. INEC had put process in place, has done its part. But what our political class, like I said, they are desperate for power. Anytime, any day. I mean, this regime is not 6 months years old. People are already talking about 2023, for God's sake. And also, some of our allies during the struggle for democracy are already engaged politically. They are already see themselves as successor to those in authority. But have we asked ourselves, are those there ready to go? There are so many permutations here and there that people are coming up with. Have we really asked ourselves, are we sincere about the process? It's not about just tokenism of changing government every 4 years. It's about impacting on the people. Are they impacting on our lives as people? We have government in place. Go to the main roads now. You see, our roads are in deplorable condition. Where they are working, you are going through stress. A journey of about 20 minutes takes about 4 or 5 hours these days in Lagos. For God's sake, is that government? That is not. So the government we should be asking for is governments are responsible, are responsive. Our government now, they are not responsible and responsive. Because we have so many, because we're a government that cannot declare free and total education. And you now celebrate feeding children once in a day, and that's an achievement, and people continue to applaud such a very, very minimal success. I mean, some of us were proud product of the free education, free and total education, free education of the Jakonde era. And it was free and total. Aside your uniform, any other thing was free. But today, a government will feed them food or feed them in the afternoon, and that's an achievement. I think we can do better as a people. We have knowledgeable people. We have the resources, except that resources keeps going to the wrong places. They keep amassing wealth personally when they deprive majority of having access to it, because it's about our people. It's not about us, but it's about politicians now. The political class takes care of themselves, either in PDP, in APC, or in any party. They know how to take care of themselves. You can cross. There's our political class, political parties lack ideologies. Today you can be in party A, tomorrow you can be in party B, without looking at what do we have together in common. We don't have anything in common. But for God, the only thing that they have in common is how to siphon our money. That's the only thing they have in common.
That's that. Well, come on. It's a pleasure having you on SaharaTV. Thank you very much.
Brother.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.